This is the stuff dreams are made of. I'm writer-collector Ryan Condal.
And I'm writer-collector Dave Mendel, and you're listening to the original movie prop collecting podcast, brought to you by Heritage Auctions, HA.com. And they've got the giant, and I do mean giant, Walking Dead Universe Auction in Dallas, October 30th, 31st, and November 1st. Order your catalog now, although they may have to send it by like a boat or something, because it's the heaviest thing I've ever seen in my life. But go to HA.com, you can download, you can follow along. We're going to be talking all about the Walking Dead Universe Auction today on The Stuff Dreams Are Made Of. Very, very exciting.
If you got attacked by a member of the undead, maybe you could beat them to death with your Heritage Auctions catalog.
I actually think maybe that's why they made it so thick and heavy, is as long as you sort of strike the zombie in the head with the catalog.
Direct head hit?
It would be fine. It would absolutely be fine. There's some cop movie where they're like torturing a guy, and they like one guy explains to another guy that you beat people or you hit them with phone books because it pounds them, but it doesn't leave any kind of like specific like black eye or mark. So it's a good way of doing it.
Yes, the blunt force trauma.
And if you are looking, if you're on the YouTube channel and watching this right now, I'm holding this catalog up. Look at the thickness of the catalog. I mean, it's really fucking insane. Yeah. I mean, this feels.
And imagine the stitching that went into keeping that binding together.
This thing is. It's over 600 pages. It's over 640 pages long. The page numbers give up around 640, but there's still more pages. So I think this is like 650 pages. I don't remember if this is the same as the size of the Game of Thrones catalog, but in my mind, it feels bigger. Maybe I'm wrong, and
it might be.
Yeah, it's fucking huge. But we'll get to it. We'll get to all that. How are you, Ryan? What's new?
I'm good, Dave. We were talking a little offline. I just got back from Malta, lovely Malta.
I'm very, very jealous. Not a place that is necessarily like I've thought about, but just the fact that you could go there, that it was just easy to hop on a little plane and jump there. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, it's like 3.5 hours from London. It's just south of Italy. It's a very interesting place. There's a historical event that happened there called the Great Siege. It was in 1565, and it was essentially 20,000 Ottomans showed up in galleys to try to take the island from the Order of the Knights of St. John, who famously that is the order of knights that would send the Maltese falcon back to the King of Spain as tribute for giving them the island. Of course, in the real history, it was a live falcon that was trained in Malta. They were very valuable, and it was like we would call consideration for their rent of the island.
Right, but in the movie they say, and in the book, by the way, The Stuff Dreams Are Made Of, the falcon itself, don't they say that it was supposed to be a live falcon, but for the for the first one, they gave a jeweled one, like just to extra honor. I think that's their twist on the legend. Anyway,
everything I found, it seems like Dashiell Hammett took the live falcon and made great writing, just made myth making out of it.
Love it.
And so I've obviously loved the Maltese Falcon, love The Stuff Dreams Are Made Of, love Humphrey Bogart. But there's this battle in history that I've always been kind of fascinated with, and it's a real kind of story of the 300. There were 500 of these knights, and then about another 5,000 or so men-at-arms squires, support staff, that kind of thing, that held this fucking tiny island for 90 days while the Ottomans just beat it to hell. And it's 1560s, so it's the early advent of gunpowder, so there's cannon on board these ships, but the knights are all wearing armor and they're using swords, and they're carrying these arquebuses, which are very like early days, very inaccurate but very dangerous and devastating, gunpowder powered weapons. So it's just a really interesting crossroads in history. And it was all kind of commanded by this fascinating character, Jean Paraceau de la Valette, who is the Grand Master of the Order. He was like 70 years old. He was just a badass. In the end of the battle, like they're coming over the walls, and he grabs the standard and runs out, and it charges his men up so much that they actually got that extra boost to like throw the Ottomans back, and it was the closest they ever got to overrun it. Basically, if they had come over that wall, they overrun the fort, they take the island, and then they use it as an invasion point to take Europe, because at that point the Ottoman Empire was
a gateway to Italy, basically, right? That's sort of the last stand. Okay.
Yeah, and if you look at the map of the Ottoman Empire at the time, it's this big kind of crescent moon that surrounded the Holy Roman Empire, and they, Suleiman the Great, the emperor, the Ottoman emperor, always wanted the jewel of Europe, and so it's by the sort of will and honor and just badassery of these knights that threw these guys back. And there's fascinating characters on both sides. There are these like Barbary corsairs and the crazy pirates that are on the on the Ottoman side, and then Dragut, their naval commander. It's just a fascinating story. So I dragged my kids this this lovely place and disguised it as a history trip. But there are all these like ancient Phoenician era and before temples that are there that are fascinating to tour. And there's like an acropolis that's underground that they only let 10 people in per hour that I was telling you about. Just this crazy crossroads of history, and a really interesting place because it doesn't feel like Europe, but it also doesn't feel quite like the Middle East or Africa. It kind of feels like, it does feel like Mos Eisley a bit. It is this kind of crossroads of the world, and you hear every kind of language walking around. The food is tremendous. It's beautiful. It's Mediterranean, so you get that sun that's like right in your face, even though it was like 72, 73 degrees, but the sun is right there when it's out. And it's just kind of wonderful. We found this really nice hotel that we stayed at. It was just a really nice break at the end of production, and had a great time. Because I cannot escape my own stupid show, I walked right up to the gates of King's Landing from season 1, because that was shot there in this little town called Mdina. And you would recognize it if you saw it. I don't think they used that beyond season 1, because when I saw them, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. But in my memory, King's Landing is much more Croatia than Malta. I think that town is just small, and I think they maybe ran out of space to be able to tell that big sweeping story, because it's a small walled town. It's not this big expansive town like the one that we used at Caceres in Spain. But highly recommended. There's actually here a tip for you, Dave. There's for the first time there's a direct flight coming from JFK to Malta that starts in like May or June. So keep an eye out for that. I think that's the reason Americans just don't go, because you have to kind of
stop,
hop, skip, and a jump everywhere to get there. Whereas there's 2 direct flights out of London every day. So it's a very common travel destination.
Do people
for the British.
Closer to it? Sorry, a couple of questions. One, do people closer to it, like obviously? Is there like a boat too? Like, can you take a boat from
Sicily?
From Sicily, okay.
It's a very common like weekend trip from Sicily. So we met a lot of Italian people that were over there, and we actually chatted with a waiter in the Heathrow airport that asked us where we were going. He said Malta, and she was like, "Oh, I love Malta. We went there all the time as children. I'm from Sicily." Blah blah blah. So yeah, a lot of that, and then the locals are super interesting. I took a private tour, did a 4-hour tour on the siege with this. It was just me and this tour guide who was actually a knight of St. George. He had been properly knighted, so he had an Australian accent, grew up in Australia, Italian last name, and he was a knight of the Order of St. George, but descended from a knight who fought at the Battle of Malta, the Siege of Malta, and he could trace his lineage all the way back to like Florence in like the 14th or 13th century. Just this crazy thing. So he had this like galaxy brain of the history. It was great. It was really great.
Very cool.
So I had a great time. The kids had a blast. So
and
it was
nice
little break.
I guess that my question is, do they sort of nod to the Maltese Falcon anywhere at all, or not so much?
Well, I sent you that silly photo, but in Mdina there was a gift shop, a really terrible gift shop called the Maltese Falcon, and the best thing about it was the photo that I took outside. You go in, and it's the same garbage that they sell everywhere else. I was surprised at how little there was. I expected to see the little statuettes everywhere. I sent you that photo, the one sort of not great one that I found at the very end of the trip, but no, there's not much mention of it. It's the siege that's everywhere. And there was also a big base during World War II to defend against the Italian expansion, because Mussolini wanted it and the British held it. It's a British territory. So actually, I didn't realize until we got there, it's right-hand drive. So it's like, I think it's, I mean, no, I can't think of another place that's not UK in Europe that's right-hand drive. I'm sure I'm missing something, but that was a surprise to me. So, but there's this kind of British colony aspect to it, and they threw the British out so shortly after the war, because they were tired of constantly being occupied by other people. But highly
Fantastic.
Interesting place.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, a well-deserved vacation for you, obviously, having finished shooting, which I guess officially congratulations if I didn't say that
thank you.
previously. Yeah. So
Thank
bravo. With all that travel and the end of whatever, anything new in props, or it's quite okay if not?
Well, yeah, I mean, sort of a bunch of things kind of in process. I'm working on my redisplay, which I consulted with you a bit on, the grappler gun from Batman. So the great Chris Barton is working on that. So I'll have updates. We sort of, basically it turned out that the shaft on the spearhead was the correct size, but the shaft on it, I think it was used for a specialty shot. Maybe the shot when Batman shoots it into the wall behind that clown in the beginning sequence, and then remember he pulls it out and it
pulls
smashes
out
him in the head.
The chunk of like wall
rock
with it,
and knocks the guy out. So maybe I'm sure they actually did something practical there. So maybe they just needed a sturdier. Because if you look at them in all the making of books, again, none of these things have ever turned up. The shaft is basically 2/3 the size, but also 2/3 the length, but also much narrower. It's a much more needle thin, just so it can slide into the barrel of the grapple gun. So we had to get a little creative because it did not fit into the grapple gun, which was disappointing. But I think we came up with a great solution to display it and make it look great. So Chris is working away at that, and I'll update when we have there. One new thing that I just wanted to talk about, I've been sitting on this for some time, but because now it's sort of made its public debut, at least in terms of press and production, is A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the successor to the successor, the next show that's coming in behind House of the Dragon, which was executive produced, co-created, showrun by a good friend of mine, Ira Parker. Ira worked for me on season 1 of House of the Dragon. He's a tremendous writer. When they were, kind of casting around for this role, they were sort of frustrated, spinning their wheels, not quite finding the right fit, and for a number of reasons. And they came to me and they like, do you have anybody? And I was like, I think you should talk to Ira. He really knows this world really well, and he just has that, I don't know, he has the sensibility that I thought they were looking for the show, where it's as you can tell, people have seen the trailer, it's a little lighter, it's funnier, it's very infused with Ira's like distinct personality. And Ira worked on, when I met him, he was basically Pamela Adlon's main set of hands on Better Things.
Oh.
So, she was writing, directing, acting. Ira was kind of doing the catch-all of being wherever she wasn't, trying to write in her voice and all that. So he has this kind of dark sense of humor, but he's just a tremendous writer, and he knew the world really well because he worked with us and wrote a terrific episode in the first season. But anyway, I just wanted it made its debut at New York Comic-Con to great fanfare. I think everybody was kind of caught off guard by it. And I was like, you guys see, everybody loves this book. Everybody loves Dunk and Egg. This is not a surprise. It should not be a surprise that the fans are clamoring for it. But the show's terrific. I just want to say, no spoilers, not saying anything else, but I've seen it all. I've read it all. I've read even more than that. And I think it's terrific. And I think I think it's a great little piece of kind of counter programming to the big epic that is House of the Dragon, is Game of Thrones. It fits right into the world. It's a different period of history. I think it's going to land really well, and I think people are really in for a treat. So I just wanted to say, I'm a little involved with the show, so I guess there is some bias there, and I do love Ira, but I've seen it. I've seen the whole thing, and I think he did a tremendous job. So I just wanted to
I'm
say that.
I'm very excited.
publicly.
I enjoyed those books. I guess I keep calling it Dunk and Egg. I don't think I will ever call it.
I think everybody is
by
going to
its
call
proper,
it that.
by its proper title.
And
but
I think
yeah,
they
yeah.
went back and forth.
Yeah.
Do we call it the Hedge Knight, and then each subsequent season you retitle the show because they're going to be these little kind of novella vignettes. So yeah, it's like kung fu set in Westeros. So it's like, you know, these two guys kind of travel from town to town solving problems. I mean, it's more complex than that, but so there was a lot of back and forth, and they landed on A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms because the Seven Kingdoms would clearly tie it in. That was the name of the collection when they eventually collected and published all three of the stories in one place. So I think it makes sense, but everybody's going to call this thing Dunk and Egg.
Fair enough. That's okay. That's all right.
Or they'll just call it House of Dragons.
Finally, House of Dragons.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Would you know when it actually is on one HBO Max or whatever the hell we call it now? HBO Max.
Yes,
Max,
I mean
Max,
I do,
HBO?
but I don't know what they've said. January. I think they've admitted to January, so I'm just going to say January.
Gotcha. We'll say
yeah.
coming soon.
But
soon.
It's coming to your tube in the cold depths of January.
Very nice.
But look forward to it. And the production design, costume design, the weapons. Tim from our show did the weapons for it. So there's a lot of like DNA and crossover. It just feels really good. I mean, I think it sits in the world really well, and I think people are gonna be excited about it.
Very
please tune in sometime in January.
Very cool. I like that.
What do you have for us, Dave? What's new with you?
I spent the evening. I know I had mentioned previously that I won the big pile or lot of Bad News Bears costumes, which I picked up. I picked up last week, and then
you're a Bad News Bears baron. Bad News baron. Yeah.
I picked them up last week and brought them to my first to my house, then to the condo. And last night, Rob Klein, friend of the show, Rob Klein, and I kind of went through and started trying to organize them, which is just kind of wild. And learn. It's been really fascinating. I learned a lot, and again, none of it maybe is surprising. But what was so fascinating about it is basically they made uniforms for the original movie, right? The Bad News Bears, and then, shockingly, or not shockingly, as the case may be, because I guess the budget was such, they just proceeded to reuse them over and over again for the next couple of movies, minus the fact I know some actors did grow. So I think there were variations, but some of them just never grew. And so things are reused. And then some of them, I guess whether they grew or not, or sometimes cast members left. Like there are actors that are only in the first two, but not in Go to Japan, whatever. So it'll be for one character for the first two movies, and then it becomes another character for the third movie. So I'm going through these costumes, and they have all these different names written down. And sometimes they write the actor's name in them. Sometimes they write the character's name in them. If it's the character's name, there are some actors that played the same character. There are some characters that are played by like two different actors. You know, it's like it's a bit of a puzzle. It's a bit of a puzzle. And then the TV show, I always thought the TV show was different because if you know the Bad News Bears, the back of the costume, they're sponsored by Chico's Bail Bonds. That's who Walter Matthau gets to sponsor them. And they couldn't. And
as you pointed out, that was not the case in the television show, which was much lighter.
Yes. However, what we discovered was the show, the ones on the show, the TV show, they just have a big yellow number on the back. But what we discovered is the big yellow patch is a patch covering Chico's bail bonds. So the costumes are not only used in all three movies, but then also used in the TV show. So
Amazing.
it is a puzzle like nobody's business, and the numbers change. Anyway, so we've been slowly.
What are you going to do with these things?
Well, we started by just trying to organize. So trying to like lay out, I guess, in its most basic form, trying to identify the ones that you could clearly identify as the main characters from the first movie. from the original Bad News Bears, the best of the sequence, if you will. And that was, some of it was very doable and some of it was hard to do. And then there are ones that are clearly the TV show. And again, there's different things. So like, for example, there's one that looks like it was worn by one of the little Latino kids in the first movie, like the really tiny kids who are so short they walk because they don't have a strike zone. But then later on, Corey Feldman wears them on the TV show. Corey Feldman is in the TV show. It must be one of his first gigs. Okay. And he plays a character named Reggie, Regi. So it's not a major character, but it is Corey Feldman. So it's sort of like, wow. So where do you know what I mean? Like, where do you put these things? And so it's a puzzle. It's a fabulous puzzle. And I'll throw
Daniel Day-Lewis actually got his start as a Bad News Bear.
Yes, he was. He also was Reggie with a Y. There was a Reggie with an I and a Reggie with a Y. Anyway, it's a fascinating puzzle. And what's really interesting is I thought I was buying like 10 costumes, and there's like 30 costumes. I mean, it's like it's like there's so many of them. So I'm trying to put together I'm trying to put them together and figure out what's what. And by the way, there's also some where there's no numbers and no markings, and you were trying to figure out, is there anything we can tell from something else to screen match? So there's that too. Very complicated, very confusing. But again, some stuff is some stuff is making sense. And then look, the honest answer is to try and figure out, like, what do I want to keep? Like, what would make me happy? Like a couple of uniforms, I feel like. And then I'll start looking around for people that are interested. I've had a couple people reach out already. And I will probably sell a bunch off just because I just want to have, like, what's nice is they're so small,
all
the kids. I want to have all the different Reggies. No, but you could frame, because I don't think I'm going to do a mannequin, but you could frame a uniform.
Like somebody would do a sports.
Exactly. Like a head to toe with, uniform and pants, whatever, which is great. The one thing that I'm really, really, really happy about, if you know the movie, is I 100% have, Tanner Boyle, who's my favorite of the characters, hey, Yankees, you can take your trophy and shove it up your ass. I have his jersey from what I believe is the first and the second movie. He wears it in both. And that is it's kind of faded and whatnot, but it is like perfect. And
it's the one.
Yeah, it's the one. So that's a keeper. Okay. But anyway, it's been a wild sort of like trying to figure it all out. So yeah, it's been very exciting. And like I said, I'll throw a couple pictures up so you can see the madness. But it's been very fun. But like I said, it is a puzzle, and it is interesting. And Rob has much more patience than I do, but also has sort of done this dance before where you're looking at stuff and it's like got like 18 different names in it, and you're trying to figure out what's the most, you know what I mean? Like it worked in every version of the show and movie, but is the version in the original movie better than the character in the second, and it's that kind of stuff. So it's very fascinating and a real lesson in, deep dives at these basically these former wardrobe houses that this is in the early days, those stories of going in and finding stuff on the racks. So this was obviously already pulled and was in an auction, but when we went to pick it up, they let us kind of wander around the racks a little bit to see if we could find any other pieces. Like they had like a sports section, so we kind of went through it a bit to see if there were any other Bad News Bears pieces. And there were not. But I mean, again, like, we were just looking through racks of policemen and army guys and whatnot. And, we were talking to them, and they had pulled out, pieces from like Private Ryan and Apocalypse Now. Anyway, it was really an interesting,
that's awesome.
A very interesting piece of, I guess, both prop collecting, wardrobe collecting, that I've never really done. Like really like going through bins of stuff, trying to find like, we were like literally going through bins of like sporting goods, like looking for yellow, like, and then is this possibly from Bad News Bear? Anyway, it's very, very fascinating, the whole thing. So anyway,
Yeah.
It's been very
Awesome.
fun.
Great.
Yeah, so more to
Great.
come.
Great.
But yeah,
Great.
very cool. Let us dive into the Walking Dead universe auction. Again, October 30th, 31st, Halloween, which I think is very apt, dare I
Very
say.
spooky.
Yep, and November 1st. HA.com, you can find out anything and everything there. I guess the floor sessions, which I guess will be like the well, no, it looks like there's floor sessions every day. So it's floor sessions 1 through 3. So 3 big sessions each day. They've sort of split it into thirds. There have been, I guess, just to sort of speak out about The Walking Dead for 4 seconds, there have been other Walking Dead, like smaller auctions at different places, different auction houses. But I think the real thing is on whatever they put in those auctions over the years, they were always holding stuff back. They were holding key stuff back. They were holding stuff back, I think, because they were not sure what they needed. They weren't sure, they were still they're still making the show. They were making spin-offs and whatnot. So this is really... This thing, and I know we've joked about the size and the weight of it, this is really the definitive Walking Dead, like, this is everything. I mean, it's insane. And I guess we should point out, and so people can scream at us as much as they like when the time comes, neither you nor I knows this show super well. There's no other way of saying it.
No.
I was a reader of the comic books. I've watched some of the show, but I don't pretend I'm an expert on it, and I kind of along the way just sort of lost track of it. So
I watched like the first 2 seasons, and then I did lose track of it. So so we're coming in hot, guys.
Yeah. So we're coming in a little different perhaps than whatever. What I will say, just to speak for a second, maybe philosophically, is I think this is an opportunity. I mean, I think if you are a Walking Dead fan, this is a catalog of opportunity. Do I think things like, Negan bats are going to go cuckoo? Sure, of course they are. But there are a lot of them. And I do think there is opportunity. I think the opportunity maybe for, stunt ones, maybe damage things, whatever it is. I think random character stuff, again, like everybody wears stuff beyond the things that they're most famous for. And I think there is an opportunity to get something from your favorite character in this giant auction, to get a zombie thing, to get a sword, to get a jacket. I mean, there's just so much in this catalog. Yeah. And the fact, and I know this is a bad thing to say, but the fact that it's not all armor, that a lot of it is, clothing. I do think there'll just be opportunities. So I do think, I think it's definitely a catalog to maybe make a strategy for yourself. That's the best way I can put it, to try and sort of think through like how do I do this? What do I do kind of a thing, And so I think everyone should, as big as this catalog is, make a plan, because I do think you can attack this in a good way. So anyway, that's my 3 cents. But should we dig in? We thought we'd start with a couple of the big highlights that just seem to be the pieces that everybody is kind of talking about. And the first one is Rick Grimes. That's Andrew Lincoln, who I think most people until this show mostly knew from whatchamacallit, the Christmas movie, Love Actually, as the stalker guy with the sign. That's how I always thought of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I knew him as the sheriff from The Walking Dead.
You're not a romantic, Ryan. You're not a romantic.
Right.
But they have his hero 357 Magnum revolver. And this is pretty darn cool to get, what can you say? His hero revolver. Super cool. Just super, super cool. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I mean, they were obviously going for this kind of modern Western. Andrew Lincoln's character is the sort of prototypical cowboy. He's got the cowboy hat, but it's all done up in modern dress, and then he's got the giant sort of 6-shooter on his hip to show that this world kind of breaks down into this kind of Western society in the kind of broadest of terms, because this was originally conceived in the comic book world. So it is a little bit more kind of it leans into the genre. It's proud of the genre and whatever. And this, this. I mean, to me, it's this. The crossbow and the katana are the iconic weapons from the saga. But this is the first thing that you see, and it belongs to the principal character.
And I think it's worth jumping. Let's just jump now, if you can, to literally lot 2 and 3, which is his basically just sheriff's ensemble and his hat. But again, there are multiples. We're going to jump to that. There are multiples of these things, but this is a really nice. There's a head to toe, well, I guess neck to toe, complete Rick Grimes sheriff's outfit, and then if you jump to the next slot, you get the hat,
the iconic
hat, and there's the hat, and then obviously those 2 lots plus the Magnum. I mean, you're done. But the beauty of this thing is there are multiple other other versions of the sheriff outfit in this auction. Even on the page we were looking at, lot 50, right next to it, I think lot 51 or 52 or something, was another right there. Look, there's another Rick Grimes. Right there's another. Again, maybe not as complete, but there's a real opportunity. So yeah, maybe the first one goes cuckoo, but there are more to be had. So I just think that's something to keep your sort of eye on auction-wise.
Yeah. And for me, I mean, I know the show is beloved and everybody's going to have their different opinions as to favorite seasons, but to me it was that Frank Darabont season, the season 1 that seized everybody's attention. So to me, coming in, I think season 1 and it was that little mini series. I think the show expanded and more episodes as it went along. The Frank Darabont sort of, proto series, for lack of a better word, I think is pretty special. And the fact that all this early stuff in the catalog is from that should be, I think the stuff should carry with it a little bit of a higher imprimatur.
I'm guessing the AMC folks listening right now just choked on their grapes, like just really that was their favorite part of this episode.
Let's face it, Dave, they're not listening.
Well, hopefully not, because we said the F word, Frank Darabont.
Their favorite guy.
So
how did that all work out?
I'm not sure. I think everybody is suing everybody. I honestly have no idea. I think it's still going on. Let's jump now, because I think you did mention sort of the biggies. Let's jump. Let's jump to Daryl's hero crossbow. This is Norman Reedus. His hero crossbow, just fabulous. Can't see the lot number. Cool. If you can help us again there. Oh, 34. Thank you very much. Yeah. Just incredible. I mean, very similar to Chewbacca's bowcaster, I'm going to point out. This is maybe an opportunity. Yeah.
I mean, Daryl is kind of the Chewbacca of I mean, Chewie would have ridden a motorcycle if he could, right?
I feel like he would have, but very much he's Chewbacca to Andrew Lincoln's Han Solo, right?
Yeah, I like this. See, now you're speaking my language. But yeah, this is the hero crossbow from seasons 1 through 3. So certainly this got a lot of use. I bet industrious, because it's got all this graffiti on it, all these markings on the bow itself. I bet industrious watchers can probably go match this thing pretty quickly, would be my guess.
Yeah,
but it's awesome.
I'm going to say probably super easy to match in a great way. So yeah, just super.
And Daryl's, he's kind of right. He's kind of like the Boba Fett, right, of this series, where he is.
Wait, I thought he was Chewbacca. Hold on.
I mean, yeah, but he's like the anti-hero that everybody, the anti-hero with the heart of gold. Everybody kind of comes to love, and I mean, I think he is a favorite character of a lot of people. Fans.
Yeah, and I think, and if I may say, I think Norman Reedus as an actor sort of, I think people like that guy too. You know what I mean? Like he's become sort of a beloved guy.
It goes back to your favorite movie, Blade 2.
There you go.
Which is, that was the first time I think I noticed him.
Ever saw him? Yeah, I think that's very true. What I love about this is maybe more so even than Rick's gun is this is a one and done. Like this is, you don't need,
for sure.
I don't think you need Daryl's costume. Do you know what I mean? Like this is like, what do you have from A Walking Dead? I've got Daryl's crossbow. congratulations, you're done. You know what I mean? I do. I think that is just very true. The other super Daryl piece is the motorcycle. Do we have the motorcycle that we can look at? Obviously, this requires a much bigger space. Not an easy thing. But there we go. The custom motorcycle from The Walking Dead, and this is by the way another great example of obviously again when you go back to like these sort of other smaller auctions, you can't give away this motorcycle. We need the motorcycle. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of one of those things. But I guess now that things are kind of,
I'm surprised he didn't take it home.
Yeah, that's true. You're right, because isn't he like a motorcycle guy in real life?
Yeah, I mean, maybe he did take. Maybe there. I'm sure.
Right, maybe there's
one.
another one. Yeah, exactly. Just gorgeous. Again, I think eminently matchable and just really cool. I mean,
That is awesome.
Really cool. And again, the character in a nutshell. The Fonz, if you will, of the show.
I thought it was Chewbacca.
The Chewbacca Fonz. Chewbacca in a leather jacket. Any of this helping? Yeah. And then we'll end with I'm sorry, not end, but just in terms of like again the biggies. And I've been told I was going to say Michonne, but I'm told maybe Michonne. And I can't even, and then no one's given me any help with her actual how to pronounce her name. But here we go: is the signature ensemble, and of course the katana sword. This is just this is badass. Awesome. This is just fucking badass. Yeah. A character that both I think took the comic book by storm and then honestly did take the show by storm and really sort of stole focus when she first appeared, at least as I think about it. And this is just wonderfully badass.
Lot 116.
Really cool.
Super cool.
And I just love I love how you can sort of style her with sort of the hood kind of thing or not, as the case may be. This is going to...
we should Bart, we should jump to lot 314 because this is 116 is being labeled as the action katana, but the hero katana, which I guess is just based on materials in the build, is actually lot 314.
So this one is
labeled as the hero.
So this is a metal. This is an actual metal. I'm guessing one. Yeah.
Yeah, and the braid work looks a little bit more detailed on the handle and all that.
So that's probably why the other one comes with that costume, the sort of the action one, which and just action is sort of. Again, we used to use the word stunt, but the word action is kind of coming into play more because you used to think of a stunt one as being used by the stunt person. But as we've sort of learned, and therefore it felt always like secondary. But what we've learned really as sort of the hobby has progressed is that oftentimes for safety, for just weight reasons and whatnot, our hero actor would often use a stunt or had a key stunt that they used over and over again, and that the stunt people might have their own stunt. And so it does get a little, it gets, you have to kind of keep track of things. But in this case, this is the metal hero one, especially for close-ups and whatnot. And certainly, if it's hanging on a wall and things of that nature. And then obviously one that she can like wear on her back and kind of run around with, you would want an action one. So that's pretty great. And yeah,
and I would also call out here lot 318, Bart, if you just skip down a couple. It looks like this is, I guess, labeled as the hero magnum. So this actually looks like a real firearm.
So this is the firing one.
Maybe maybe the other one was was like an airsoft or something. Was that labeled action? Sorry, they didn't, the call outs that they gave us didn't have associated lot numbers. But that says hero. Oh, hero non-firing. Okay, so this is like it's like a holster plug, or like this is the one he would hold out in sequences where you didn't fire, whereas the firing one here is 318. I think a case can be made honestly for either. They're both heroes.
I'm going to make the argument that probably people will ultimately go for the
earlier one
Well, no,
because
I was
it's
gonna
more
go
transferable.
Well, see, I was thinking that that people are going to ultimately want the firing one, like as quote unquote an actual, not to fire it, but just to have the
Yeah.
true hero. So maybe the opportunity is the first one, just because it was the hero non-fire. I went this
Well,
again,
certainly
yeah.
if you're not a U.S. resident,
Yeah.
the first one is going to be your best chance. I mean, I actually don't even know if you can get that into the UK, but certainly you'll have a better chance in a non-firearms country with that first one. Whereas 318, that's the pure blue, red-blooded American lot right there to buy. So but that's the nice thing with this auction. There's multiple chances to chase these key props. I mean, there's multiple katanas in the auction. There's a couple of others that are called out as action ones. There's another hero, Mishan Katana, at lot 574 that maybe is this one has a sheath that maybe is from maybe later in the run. It looks like from the photo. It doesn't say. There's no particular season call out. It just looks like from the photo that it's a later part of the story. So, but that's the beautiful thing about the catalog is there's multiple opportunities to get your favorite prop. So you can kind of see how,
I mean,
who chases what when.
It's. I mean, I think it's overwhelming. I remember a little bit when we did the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and we had that collector on as a guest, and he really wanted stuff, and it was just so much. You know what I mean? Like this is the opportunity to this is your chance. This is everything, which is just kind of wonderfully wild. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, like where do you start? It is. It's a little bit of madness in a crazy way. But again, an opportunity, which I think is cool. The other giant character for everybody is Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan, who in the comics as well starts as just this, horrific badass. And what's interesting is, because I guess of Jeffrey Dean Morgan himself, if I understand it correctly, he's sort of like, even though I guess spoiler alert, he kills beloved characters. Like
what?
Yeah. Now I guess he's now like they've almost tried to turn him into a little bit of an anti-hero, and you kind of like, you know what I mean? Like you try and like kind of forget like necessarily all of what he's done in the past a little bit, because he's like not exactly a good guy, but kind of like, well, we've got Jeffrey Dean Morgan in a really cool way. So this is lot 384. This is a complete costume with an action bat. So not a wood bat, but an action bat.
The hero bat is one lot down. So 385 is just the hero bat, but the ensemble. And this is where you go, what are you going to go for?
Right.
Because you could get the whole kit and caboodle with 384, but I think the slightly better bat, or the preferred bat, would be 385.
But I'm not crazy here. There are other action bats in this auction. Yes, there's a couple of other just bats. So this is the hero bat. Then you can get the ensemble with a bat. Then you have this hero bat, and then there's other opportunities.
There's a bloodletting one, Dave.
Yeah,
lot 400.
So,
I love this.
Yeah, this is where it is wonderfully. Oh, look with the tube too. Look at that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Ooh, that I think is just really, really fun.
That was used.
Yeah, absolutely used. I love that that's an actual effect one. Really very fun piece there that, you can see how it splits into two and you can pump the blood through it. Wow, that's cool. So again, a lot of choices and opportunities, which I guess is sort of the name of this auction in some ways. Just really, really wild. Those are, I know this is going to sound silly. Those are your billboard pieces of probably sort of the four most popular characters, but obviously there's so many characters. That's part of the show is people come in, people die, whatever, and everybody's got a different sort of favorite character. Obviously when your favorite character dies, it's horrible and all that kind of stuff. Were there other things, Ryan, that just going through this massive thing that just sort of jumped out at you as real favorites, I guess?
Well, I mean, we should talk about the work of the great Greg Nicotero, because I feel like you can't really talk this show without talking about the villain of the show, or the villains of the show, which are the walkers. And there is some. I was actually surprised in going through this just how much walker prosthetics, walker stuff was in this, because you'd imagine that, that they're prosthetic appliances and like whatever, the magic of those things is when they're all glued on to the performer and put onto life on camera. But they did some real great work here in bringing some of this stuff to life for collectors. So if we can just call out a couple of the lots here, I'm just trying to find lot 122 pre-painted walker heads. From the franchise, and these are nice because they're just like busts that you could just put in the collection without having the burden of an entire zombie man in your office or display room. Help us out, Bart. What else?
412 is I just love, because I like when they are. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the heads are cool unto themselves, but check out 412. Look at that. I love that. Just because you get sort of the fully dressed guy, with all the dirt on it, but then just that really wonderful
the
head.
Face is terrible. Yeah.
Really,
in a great way.
really
in a
just
great way.
Fantastic. And I do think, look, there's a reason this auction is on October, that it overlaps Halloween. Yeah. The work on these zombies is just so goddamn cool, and you just can't, I mean, the opportunity to get, I guess I would say a character or two or some favorite props, and then grab a zombie while you're at it. I think you kind of have to. It just feels like if you're kind of trying to build one of these things, you got to do it. Check out 490. These are just pre-painted masks from the series. Again, a nice lot of 5 of them. So, you could do that with a buddy or two, just put that together and grab a couple. Yeah. I mean, I love the way those look, and they will just display so cool. And again, what's the show about? It's zombies. So you kind of got to go for that. Yeah.
Well, it's about zombies and crossbows. So there's actually
one
another,
or the other. Yeah.
138. I just want to call out a couple of the other crossbows. 138 is another example of Daryl's hero crossbow. This one looks to be a little bit maybe more functional, but also marked up with the crazy graffiti. It says also seasons 1 to 3, and then there's another one towards the end of the auction where Daryl got a big upgrade and went super tactical. Lot 339. This he used through seasons 3 through 11. This is an action crossbow, so I guess this was actually as far as they would allow it to function on set here. And then there's this really crazy tactical one here at the end of the auction, 435, or towards the end of the auction, from 7 and 8, when the budget was really up, and Daryl was able to afford a better piece of kit. Look at this thing; it's like dual articulated at the front. And I'm sure there's all the crossbow nuts are going crazy, but look at the split sort of articulated bows at the front of this thing. I mean, it's a proper submachine gun version of a modern crossbow. 435. There you go.
Oh, that is badass. That is
really
look at
cool.
This thing. So that's season 7 and 8. So
yeah, that's like the end of the run. They're just like,
the other
here,
thing,
Daryl, you're good with crossbows.
Right.
Take this hand cannon.
One of the things, though, that I do appreciate about the show was obviously, because it's this, this whatever post-apocalyptic world, and everything is in abundance, is how important sort of like certain outfits, certain weapons became to the characters, and they kind of were like identified by them. So you get these things like, check out like lot 453 if you can for a second. This is from the 2 back ends of the season, but this is the character Jerry, and I like this actor Cooper Andrews. I think he's always very funny to me. But this is the axe that he basically uses in those 2 seasons, and again, again, is it a crossbow? No, but it's super cool and it's super him. I guess I think one of the things this show does really well is like, how do we sort of ID these people, if that makes sense? You know what I mean? Like, what can we give them that sets them apart in a kind of a cool way?
They're like I mean? Mad Max character, basically.
Yes, exactly. And we're gonna identify them quickly. And and very simply, almost like silhouette-y, you know what I mean?
Yeah, icons.
Yeah.
451, I love this. It's Shiva, which is the Ezekiel character's tiger. This is his sort of animatronic stand-in for when they weren't using the real tiger.
If I had a truck, I think I would like to buy this and put it in the back of the truck. Just carry it around. Just drive around exactly with it.
Would you put that in the back of your Cybertruck?
What a crazy thing. That is great looking. And again, it's like, this is where, and again, look, I'm going to admit, this is where I'm not even sure I saw some of these episodes, but like, look at 549, it's Aaron's prosthetic arm. I mean, that is a killer prop. If that's your guy, that's a killer prop. You know what I mean? With the bone saw as well. I just love that stuff. And then there's all sorts of like, let's go to 569 just to jump to something else. There are, and this was true for the Game of Thrones auction as well. There are just these sort of lots of weapons. So you can look at like 6.8 and 6.9 here. 6.8 is all these just sort of action knives and VFX knives, with the green and the sort of the half hilts. And then 6.9, all sorts of arrows, knives, steers and spicks, all sort of, some Survivor stuff. Just really, really cool. I mean, I don't know what else to say. And then go one next lot, 570. I love this Michonne stage sign, just because this is part of the making of. You know what I mean? This is like not obviously seen on camera.
It's BTS, yeah.
Yes, but I kind of love the fact that they have things like this in the auction, which I just think is really cool. Because it's
speaking of doors, right at the top of the auction, 1107. I saw this. 11007. I saw this when we were first cruising through the top. This is like the
This is the opening of the show. Yeah.
I think this was the teaser poster. Do I remember that correctly, or it was in the first teaser for the show? Maybe if I'm imagining, I remember this being one of the first images that you see of the show, and it's the hospital doors with the "Don't Open, Dead Inside" and the padlock. I'm shocked this actually was taken away and survived.
Yeah,
I would just
amazing
this was
that
a bit of
someone didn't take this home.
Set
you know what I mean?
Yeah, or just got they scrubbed the paint off and returned it to the hospital or wherever they're shooting. But I love that.
Check out 11622. This is another one of the great Nicotero zombies. But I love this one just because he's wearing like a gas station outfit and he says his name is Doug. So I just love Doug the zombie. Again, just the fun of this. I mean, and I know this sounds silly, but obviously it's prop collecting, but also, you could be setting this up next year at Halloween, like just on your porch in a really, just really fun, great way.
Or Dave, just do it at Rosh Hashanah and really catch your neighbors off guard. They're expecting this kind of shit at Halloween.
For Passover, you open the door for Elijah, and in comes
Ezekiel.
In comes Doug. Jump to 11660. Again, we're talking about like signage and stuff, like just some of this kind of like the Commonwealth community propaganda banners, fight the dead, save the living, just some of these street signs just from the Commonwealth area.
I love all this
just
stuff.
Again, these are not big ticket items in a really, really great way, I think, which I just think, is just makes it that much better. And the other thing that is just to be really, this goes all the way into, I guess, all the different shows and spin-offs as well. So
Fear the right.
Yeah. So this is like look at like 11759, which I just, again, talk about decorating your house. I love that crazy armadillo mascot thingamabobby. But that's from Fear the Walking Dead, and then right across on the other side, we've got John Dory's
The great Garrett Dillahunt.
So great. And his wife, June Dory, her Jenna Elfman. So we've got the matching pistols there. So again, from Fear the Walking Dead, we have, God, it's really overwhelming in a fabulous way. I mean, it's just a little bit of everything. And I'm going to admit, look at 11786, just another killer zombie. And then right across from it, from Fear the Walking Dead, Kim Dickens, an actress I love, her railroad spike hammer. So I always get a kick out of her in these shows. So anyway, so much cool stuff. I mean, I don't know what
Check
to
out
say.
the Mad Max car. Lenny James is Morgan Jones, the character. The slot 11773. This is a real sort of war rig here we got.
Oh wow,
I love this
total
thing.
war rig
From Fear
But we've got the Ones Who Live spinoff, which I guess is the Rick and Michonne show. We've got stuff from the Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, his sort of Forgive Me spinoff. I don't know all of these shows. I'm not going to lie. This is just really cool. And multiples. Let's just another Nicotero piece. 11881. Look at this zombie. This is just a great looking zombie mask. I mean.
Oh yeah.
As I said, I am not. I don't know the show well enough. But to me, I'm going to say this for me.
That's a zombie that's had measles, Dave.
Yeah, I'm looking at the zombies. I got to be honest. Like, I think if there's an opportunity to just grab a zombie from this auction, whether it's a mask or a full ensemble. And I got to be honest, for me, I don't care. Like, I don't give a shit what season. I don't give a shit what spinoff. I just would love to have an example of Nicotero's zombie work, just as one of the true sort of masters of, makeup and effects and stuff. I just think the work is truly exquisite, and I think it's one of the things that makes the show just so special and so memorable. I just, just wild and wonderful. So for me, I think I'm going to keep an eye on these Nicotero pieces just because, like I said, I don't know the show well enough, but I would love to have an example of his work.
Look at this 11893, the Walker King animatronic torso. It's an animatronic. Look at this horrible thing.
Oh wow,
this is from the Dead City spinoff.
I'm sure someone will explain to us like what's going on with why these zombies sort of have some sort of disease or something. But it's almost like you can tell, like, I mean, in these later seasons, these zombies are getting even more complicated in a really great way. You know what I mean? Like, that animatronic is fantastic. Oh man, that is gorgeous. Really, really, really gorgeous.
Beautiful stuff in this in this sale. I mean, and they don't need the stuff Dreams Are Made Of to promote this thing. Like, this thing is going to do gaga gangbusters. I mean, the show has been,
fan base is just. I mean, I think they've been going
strong for like 15 years now, and the comic book fan base coming in, and the Robert Kirkman universe, and all that. This is a big deal. So I would register, but I would also have. We talked to you guys about having your bidding plan in when we did the Game of Thrones auction, because you can't go into this assuming that you're going to win Daryl's crossbow or Michonne's katana. You've got to you can go for those things, and you should, because you never know, anything can happen on auction day. But you need to have your second and third tier stuff so that you don't die on hope the whole day.
You're not like, oh God, I got
nothing.
Yeah, I got screwed because I wasn't thinking. And it is so complicated that I do think it's almost worth, like, you got to kind of go through and almost like, let's just pick the crossbow for a second. You got to go through and really almost like mark every crossbow, and maybe you got to rank them and kind of go, look, there's maybe an opportunity here, and
That's what I do with my crossbows.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you got to keep your eye on it, because I do think there will be some big fights for a couple of the sort of like maybe look, for all I know, maybe the earlier season hero ones. Those are going to be the bigger fights. But there's so many crossbows from so many seasons. I think there's opportunity. Again, I just think I think you got to make a plan. So I do think I'm very curious for listeners. Like, email us. I'm very curious. Like, tell us your plan. I just would love to know, or tell us what your plan was and how it went, because it'd be fun to kind of hear like how it all played out for you. I just think it would be very cool. I'd like to just know how people kind of approach these things, because I think. This one for me, like I said, I since I don't know the show that well, I'm looking at a couple of the zombies just for the fun of it. But that's a different approach. The other thing I will say is I do think some of the one of a kind, like things like some of these like various maps and notes and things like that. I love that stuff. So I know it's not what the show is as famous for. You know, I feel like the show's more famous for, you know, like weapons and killing zombies. But I do love some of those sort of like that first one, or like, for example, look at 11418. Like, there's just stuff like this that's just really memorable. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Anyway, just my 3 cents for what it's worth.
Yeah, the human touches in the show, and there's the stuff that they find from the kids, and what's his name, Andrew Lincoln's Rick Grimes' daughters, her like drawings are in there. They're just these nice sort of, you know, human touches in the apocalypse that are throughout this. And these are things that, you know, that were handmade. They should screen match here and there. So worth doing your research on that, because maybe you can find a great piece that marks that favorite episode or favorite scene or whatever it is that you might be looking for. But have your bidding plan.
And for the and that's the other thing, for the characters, for their wardrobe, you've got multiple seasons, and not everybody, some of them wear like very similar things through the whole thing. You know, they have their uniform, but at the same time, there's also just an opportunity where there's, you know, they do change like later on and whatnot. And so again, opportunity. That to me is what this Walking Dead universe auction is all about, is a real opportunity. And like I said, October 30th, 31st, Halloween, and November 1st, ha.com. Check it all out. I guess look, I don't know what to say. We are not as we said, we don't know the show well enough, but I do think the strategies we're talking about apply to this auction, even if we can't tell you like what we think you should be going after, if that makes any sense. But good luck, honestly.
Can we play our little game here, Dave?
Yes,
what do you think of the big 4 weapons, which I would list as Rick's gun, the katana, crossbow, and then Lucille? What do you think? And presuming, you know, not all this, which one sort of, I would guess, hero lot of each of those? What's the most sought after? What's the thing that goes the craziest? Or should we rank them?
Well, I don't know. I mean, our answers may not be the same as anyone else. If I were betting, I believe, ironically, and this is the what's the word I'm looking for? The sad fate of the leading man. I believe Rick's gun may be the lowest of the 4. Like
I think it's number 4.
Yeah, I think Lucille. I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Negan wins the auction. I'm guessing his stuff across the board, and I think Michonne and Daryl almost like tied. Like they're going to be number 2, and their stuff's going to go crazy. And depending go ahead.
I think there are bigger Daryl fans in the world, but I think that the simplicity of the katana and it being used as a weapon to dispatch zombies sort of edges out the crossbow, and it's probably a little bit more sleek and displayable without,
and I feel like
as a man who's had to display a crossbow, they do take up quite a bit of space.
And I do feel like her outfit sort of is more interesting than what Daryl wears. So I think the idea of getting a full machine. Anyway, again, I don't know, but this is what I think. And Rick, again, fabulous, but you know, it's like, you know, you're the everyman, and in some ways you don't get to be as interesting as the other 3. Yeah.
But that said, I think that early costume ensemble is going to go bananas.
I think the opportunity
right
to
out
get
of the gate.
that first hero full and hat. Yes, I agree.
From the Darabont season.
Yeah.
Everybody at AMC drink. I said Darabont.
Yeah, the Darabont. Okay, I think you said it. We said it enough times, and he has appeared as a guest. Well, I mean, I just let us know how you guys did, because we're really curious. Because again, this is not our thing, but really excited to watch and yeah, check it all out. Again, 30th, 31st, and November 1st. HA.com and
Good luck.
yeah, good luck, and we'll see you. Anything else? Write us at.
dreamsaremadeofpodcast@gmail.com.
Yep. I'm sorry we don't even have videos for this one. This was just not one that we were able to do videos for a variety of reasons we won't bore you with. But
It was the undead.
we were scared. By the way, though, I will say this is maybe a strange time to mention this. Heritage made some great, like, sort of commercials for the auction with like the undead looking through the catalog and heading to the bidding. Like, I thought those were really funny.
I saw some of the stills, but I guess I didn't realize there were videos.
I believe there's videos, so check those out. They're really, really fun. Kudos to them on that. So well done, Heritage folks. And we'll be back next week with something. I don't know what, but we'll be back with something.
An episode.
Yeah, there you go. Bye, everyone.